Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today is polling day across the UK, and that's how we refer to voting day. It's a general election here in the UK, and that means that everyone will be going to the polls. The word poll and survey are synonyms of each other. Okay, so if you take a poll, you take a survey. So polling day is survey day, asking people or inviting people to say who they want to vote for. Voting will take place usually within the local school. The school kids will be given the day off, and people will be going to the polling station. Basically, it's the local school, and the little cabin that they enter with the paper where you tick the box is called a polling booth. Many people will already have received their polling cards, which they must take with them, and these days photo ID is required also if you want to vote, which is kind of difficult because we don't have ID cards here in the UK. So many people will find that very hard. Unless they have a driving license or a passport, they may not be able to produce something with their photo on there. The headlines of our newspapers are all related to voting today. The Metro says the nation decides, Britain goes to the polls. The Daily Star is much more direct. It says, a fond farewell to those clowns, chancers, liars, sociopaths who'll be out of work this time tomorrow. So it obviously doesn't like our current government. The Daily Express says, vote Conservative. And the nickname for the Conservative Party is the Tories. That's how they're generally known. It's an old English word meaning robber, but yet it doesn't really carry that meaning today. It's just a name we use to refer to that party. The local press in Scotland, they're urging people to vote Labour, and it says, we can do so much better than this Tory government, so don't miss the chance to kick them out. Vote for Labour. Vote for change. Yeah, that's a Daily Record. It's interesting because many of these newspapers don't claim to have any kind of political allegiance, but they've all got views, haven't they? The Daily Mirror, another one of our national newspapers, Britain can be better than this. Today you have the chance to make history. Today we can choose a brighter future. Vote Labour. Yeah. Well, my polling card arrived about a month ago, and I immediately destroyed it and put it into the bin because I don't vote. Let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, the Evening Standard has a big headline here. The Standard backs the Labour Party. Dear. Yeah, our current government, the Conservatives, looks like they'll be finished according to polls. The Independent has a headline today, the final poll. That just means the final survey. The Tories are braced for a complete wipeout. Yeah, I think there's been problems over the years with the COVID parties, many other recent problems as well. What else do we have? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all the headlines so far for this morning. A few others still to come, like the Guardian, for example. I'm just going to refresh this page to see what I can find. Oh, yes, here we are. The Independent, it says here, Tories are, that's the Conservative governments, don't have much chance of getting back in, and it looks like they've given up. The Guardian is leading with Labour is promoting a new age of hope as Britain goes to the polls and votes in a historic election. The media in Wales is saying leaders are encouraging a last minute push as the UK goes to the polls. So they're saying that almost certainly people should be voting. Let's just read a little bit of what they're saying in Wales. It says here, leaders of the main political parties in Wales were yesterday engaged in a frantic last drive for votes in a general election predicted to bring seismic political change across the UK. Voters will go to the ballot box today in an election predicted by the polls to be a landslide victory for Labour. And it will be bigger than the results for the Tony Blair government in 1997. They're saying it will be a landslide victory, surpassing the Tony Blair 1997 general election. It says here, the Labour Party, I think they're currently in control in Wales, aren't they? It says here that the leader has said to Welsh people, I would say to every voter in Wales, if you want change, you have to vote Labour. It will be a game changer because we will have a Labour government in Westminster working with the Labour government here in Wales. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the Conservative Prime Minister we have at the moment, he's insisting that he's going to win, and he says he's fighting hard for votes. But one of his colleagues has pointed out that it's very unlikely they will get back to power. Speaking to ITV, that's our local TV channel, the Prime Minister said, I'm fighting hard for every vote. I've just read some analysis that shows that if 130,000 people make a difference, we can still win. Yeah. And Plaid Cymru, that's the Welsh local government, it says they have every reason to be confident about their chances in the election. And their party's leader, who has a Welsh name that I can't pronounce, it looks like Rhun ap Iorwerth, said as he visited 4 seats yesterday ahead of polling day, he is looking forward to seeing his party win. Yeah, well, it's the same here in Scotland. They're saying that there's a growing opposition to our current government, which is the Scottish Nationalist Party. And it looks like many of the seats may swing back to the Labour Party. That could mean a new Scottish First Minister, and he's also Indian. His name is actually Anas Sarwar. Anas Sarwar. And if the Labour Party win in Scotland, then he will become the leader. So when Scottish people go to vote today, they'll be voting for the Scottish government and also for the central government. So they'll have two boxes to tick or two forms to complete. Isn't it interesting that when voting takes place in countries like Japan, they have to use little circles on the voting form, but here in the UK we tick the boxes. Just to give you some background on Anas Sarwar, he's our local Labour leader, and if he gets into power, that will align him with the central government, which could mean that Scotland becomes closer again to the central government, because it will be the same party, of course, who will be working together. Because right now, the Scottish National Party doesn't have a liking for the Conservative government or the Labour government, so they kind of oppose everyone, I think, except in policies that they like. A few of you have asked me in English lessons about why we tolerate Indian ministers or Indian politicians, and particularly why we have an Indian Prime Minister. And until recently, we also had an Indian Scottish First Minister. Well, that's not actually true, first of all. It's true these people are of Indian origin, and it's also true that their grandparents were Indian, or they themselves have Indian ancestry, which is noticeable by the way that they look, but it does not mean that they are Indian or have any political interests with India or Pakistan. I can further say that here in the UK, we are not allowed to question anyone's right to be a politician because of their skin colour or because of their ancestry. This politician, Anas Sarwar, and indeed Rishi Sunak, they are just as British as I am, and in fact, they may even be more British than I am, bearing in mind that I've lived outside of the UK for whole chunks of my life. So even though I'm British and I look white, Anas Sarwar and Rishi Sunak, they're exactly the same as I am. They went to school here. I'm sure in looking at them, they had a more privileged background. Perhaps they went to private schools, I don't know. But they have a perfect right to be politicians here. I think a lot of the misunderstanding comes in just because of the way that they look. And they may even have some different cultural traditions in their personal lives. For example, Rishi Sunak, of course, is a practicing Hindu, but that is not a reason to be discriminatory against him. That's simply a statement of fact. He's as British as I am, and he's allowed to lead his life in any way that he wants. And that's the joy of being British. We can choose to live in any way that we want. And if I, choose to be involved in a different culture today, I can do that. So Anas Sarwar and Rishi Sunak, they have perfect rights to become Prime Minister. And in a diverse society, the only thing we need to know is that they're following the rules and that they are representing everyone. When it comes to these politicians who are Indian, like Anas Sarwar and Rishi Sunak, I'm not a political person, but I can tell you one thing. I have a great respect for them. Some of my closest friends over the years have been Pakistani and Indian. Remember that Britain, we don't call them colonies anymore. We had a department which was India, and as a result, many of us went to school with Indians and Pakistanis. We don't see them as being different. Yeah, it's true that, sometimes there are issues with immigration. However, I have a very, very deep respect for these people, having lived and worked amongst them for many years. Anas Sarwar, for example, he was born in Glasgow in 1983. So there's absolutely no reason for me to be suspicious of him or not to like him purely based on his skin color. People who grow up here from other cultures, second generation people, they face a huge amount of negative criticism in the media. Some people don't realize that sometimes their family have lived here for generations. They've not just stepped off a plane. So if you want to know more about Anas Sarwar, you can see pictures of him in the media. So very, very interesting. Yeah, he doesn't look that bad. I don't like politicians particularly, but I have to say I would probably trust people with principles more than those who don't have. By the way, Anas Sarwar, I'm just reading here. He's married to a dentist. They have 3 young children. His family came from the Punjab. Yeah, he seems to be very, very rich, but that's the case with all politicians these days. And he's the president of the Sarwar Foundation. I don't know what that is. And he is teetotal. And it says here that he's on a list of successful Pakistanis in the UK. Oh, very interesting. Well, I wish them all luck today. If that's what they want to do, I wouldn't do it. I think you'd have to be quite brave to be working in politics. But please don't think that we're here with Indian politicians. That's not true. These people look a little bit Indian, but they're as British as I am. And the truth of the matter is that I think many people, like myself, just don't want to be involved with politics. We don't want politics. It's boring, it's dull, it's corrupt, and I certainly, generally speaking, wouldn't trust many politicians. So if someone like Anas Sarwar or Rishi Sunak want to take that job, they're more than welcome. If they feel that they can. No one else seems to want it. Well, that's it from me today. So whoever wins, I guess I wish them success. If they could just lower my taxes, if anyone's listening, thank you very much. And that's it from me. So I'll see you all soon. Bye.